The House will come to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I Mr. Gregorio, please call a roll.
Representatives Amabile. Arndt. Bacon. Baisley. Benavidez. Burnett. Byrd. Bockenfeld. Bradfield. Caraveo. Carver. Catlin. Cutter. Doherty. Duran. Escar.
Here.
Exum. Froelich. Geithner. Representative Geithner. Representative Geithner is excused. Gonzalez Gutierrez. Gray. Hanks. Herod. Representative Herod is excused. Holtorf. Hooten. Jackson.
Here.
Judah.
Here.
Kennedy. Kip. Larson. Lontine. Locke. Lynch. McCluskey. McCormick. McKean. McLaughlin.
Present.
Michelson Janae.
Present.
Mullica. Representative Mullica is excused. Neville. Ortiz. Pelton. Pico. Ransom. Rich. Ricks. Roberts. Sandridge. Sirota. Snyder. Soper. Sullivan. Tipper. Titone. Representative Titone is excused. Valdez A. Valdez D.
Good morning, Colorado!
Van Beber. Van Winkle. Weissman. Will. Williams. Woodrow. Woog. Young. And Mr. Speaker.
With 61 present, 4 excused, we have a quorum. Representative Luck.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker. It is an honor to serve with you.
Honor to serve with you as well, Representative Luck.
I would like to move that the Journal of Friday, March 26, 2021 be approved as corrected by our wonderful Chief Clerk.
You have heard the motion that the journal be approved as corrected by the Chief Clerk. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The strong aye from Representative Baisley carries the motion. The motion is adopted. Announcements and introductions. Representative Pelton and Representative D. Valdez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and good morning, members. It's great to be here with you this morning, Monday morning. Tomorrow morning, we'll be having the Capital Commissions, and I wanted to invite each and every one of you down for Bible study. Please come down, say a prayer, say a blessing, have some quiet time, grab some coffee, some camaraderie, but also come together. And as I just wanted to read from the book of Isaac, Here is my servant who I upheld, my chosen one, of whom I am pleased, upon whom I have put my spirit. He shall bring forth justice to the nations, to everyone. So with that, I invite everyone tomorrow morning. We'll start at 7:15. Please join us.
Representative Pelton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I encourage everyone to come down. Pastor Dan File may not be there in the morning. He had to have surgery Friday, so if you could keep him in your prayers and help with the healing, that'd be great. But he's hoping to be here tomorrow. So 7:15, down in the basement, come have some coffee, have something to eat, and be filled with Spirit.
Representative D. Valdez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And as Representative Pelton said, yes, let's have a prayer for Pastor Dan File as he continues to recover from his surgery, and we appreciate everyone coming down. Thank you.
Representative Hooten.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I have received permission to be absent tomorrow. I'm excused.
Approves.
Thank you.
Representative Holtorf.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, esteemed colleagues. Many of you will see one of these stickers sitting on your desk. An oversight on my part last week during the National Ag Week, but the Colorado Beef Council wanted me to hand these out, and I'm going to get more of these if you want. I just want to explain what the Colorado Beef Council does. It connects Coloradoans to our beef community and enhances the role of beef in a healthy lifestyle. The Colorado Beef Council manages demand building programs for Colorado's $3.4 billion beef industry with a B. The Colorado Beef Board was formed by state law in 1965. A name change to the Colorado Beef Council came in July of 1985 with the passing of the federal Farm Bill. It was established to promote beef and research. I'll move down to the bottom here as we move along. I don't want to take a lot of your time. It's funded by a $1 head beef checkoff assessment to all cattle sold within the state. The Colorado Beef Council retains half of those dollars within the state to promote state-level beef promotions and healthy lifestyles. The other half goes to the national level to the USDA Ag Marketing Service, which also promotes at the national level and internationally. Now, there's something I want everybody to know in this chamber. If you don't know this, Colorado beef is famous throughout the world. Throughout the world. There are people in Japan, Korea, and China who specifically order Colorado beef because of its quality. Along the eastern seaboard, beef is sent to the eastern seaboard every day from Colorado because of its quality. We have some of the best beef processing fabrication in the world. So please understand that beef is what's for dinner, and beef is a big deal in Colorado. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Holtorf. That was very useful, and I hope everyone was paying attention. Representative, let's see if there's additional announcements, additional committee announcements, and then we'll get to the tribute. Representative D. Valdez. Representative Byrd.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Finance Committee. We are meeting today at 1:30 in Committee Room 112. We're going to begin the committee meeting with a presentation from Legislative Council Staff Economics Team, and they're going to be discussing how to evaluate a tax expenditure. Members, this is something we will all be called upon to do, sitting in Committee of the Whole, even if you don't sit in on the Finance Committee. So if you can, I encourage you to listen in. After that short presentation, we'll hear House Bill 1197, House Bill 1021, 1218, Senate Bill 121, House Bill 1105, and House Bill 1162. Be there or be square, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks so much, Representative Byrd. The important question of but for, I'm sure, will come up during that presentation. Further announcements and introductions. Representative D. Valdez. Members, we have a tribute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and bring forth to you AmeriCorps tribute, and I would like to have it be read, please.
State of Colorado, the House of Representatives convened in the 73rd General Assembly hereby extends sincere commendations to the Colorado AmeriCorps members. The members of the Colorado House of Representatives offer our thanks and gratitude to the Colorado AmeriCorps members, AmeriCorps senior volunteers, and alumni. 2020 changed the world. Lives and livelihoods were lost. Colorado faced devastating destruction and unimagined challenges. Despite these obstacles, each day, countless Americans answered the call to serve. They raised their hands, stood up, showed up, and stepped forward in service, putting their neighbors and complete strangers first. Their efforts helped make America safe and healthier, fairer, and more just. The members of the Colorado House of Representatives wish to thank them for their dedication to our communities during the past year and applaud the positive impact they've had on Colorado. On request of Representative Donald Valdez, given this 29th day of March, 2021, State Capitol, Denver.
Representative D. Valdez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, members, and please, you can be seated. And if there's any member that was a part of the AmeriCorps, please, thank you for your service, and if you wanted to speak on this, please. Just want to say to the service, to the individuals who are continue to make our lives and our livelihoods better every day, for the amount of hard work and hours put in for our health and safety of others, those in need, those in our communities, those who work with nonprofits, those who work with the people on a regular basis. With that, I say thank you, and thank you for your support for the tribute. Appreciate it.
And I have one quick announcement that Representative Burnett will replace Representative Hooton on Transportation and Local Government tomorrow for one day only. Okay, next order of business is third reading of bills, final passage. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of the House Bill 1092.
House Bill 1092 by Representative Williams, also Senator Holbert, concerning the eligibility of a candidate for Lieutenant Governor to be a candidate for another elected office.
Assistant Majority Leader Gonzalez Gutierrez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move House Bill 1092 on third reading and final passage.
You have heard the motion. The motion before us is the adoption of House Bill 1092 on third reading and final passage. I do see additional discussion. Madam Speaker Pro Tem Benavides.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And members, I don't usually come down on third reading unless I'm going to vote against a bill that I think may pass. And the reason I do it is because my constituents do pay attention and they talk to me about bills and how I voted. And honestly, members, to me, this bill might seem like just a simple bill, but running for office, to me, is about service to the people. And that it's about working on behalf of our constituents. It is not about keeping our job or running for the next job that's out there. And that really is the sense of a lot of people. And if a candidate themselves can't decide what office they really want to run for, why should a voter be able to do that? You know, there was a situation in our recent history, many of you remember Representative Seiss from Jefferson County, and he had run on a vacancy and then ran on a one term that he ran competitively and won in 2016, and then in 2018 he ran as lieutenant governor and did not run again for the state representative position he had been holding at that time. You know, I have a lot of respect for former Representative Seiss. He was a man who you could rely on. He was able to talk to us about bills. We didn't always agree, but we were always able to work through things. And he didn't bring this forward. He hasn't run again. But this issue is something that each of us as candidates have to decide. And I know how difficult it would be for me to explain to my constituents why I would be running for two offices at the same time. I couldn't do it. So because of that, I'm going to be a no vote, and I encourage a no vote on this bill.
Representative Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I just want to say that I respect the opinions of Representative Benavidez. When we were having second reading debate, I even went up to her and I said I appreciate those comments. But for me, at the end of the day, it gets back to what I was saying originally. Let the voters decide, and let the gubernatorial nominees make that determination and deal with the benefits or the consequences of that decision. Ultimately, if we can allow for our nominees to put forward their best foot and strengthen their ticket in a way to make their case to Coloradans, then so be it. Let's allow that to happen. This is a good bill, and it will ultimately allow for more options, more choices, and allow for the best qualified individuals to end up in that particular office. So I'd ask for a yes vote.
Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1092? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1092 on third reading and final passage. Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Those participating remotely, Representative Judah, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Judah votes yes. Representative Jackson, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Jackson votes no. Representative Michelson-Janae, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Michelson-Janae votes no. Madam Majority Leader, how do you vote?
Yes.
Madam Majority Leader votes yes. Representative Ortiz, how do you vote? We didn't hear you. Try one more time. Representative Ortiz.
Yes.
Oh, there you go. Heard it. Representative Ortiz votes yes. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative McLaughlin votes yes. Representative Kennedy, Representative Sandridge. Representative Kennedy, it's a $2 fine. Please close the machine. With 44 aye votes, 19 no votes, and 2 excused, House Bill 1092 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Remember, fines go towards the kitty for staff to have a party at the end of session. So fines are a good thing. That doesn't mean you can be late, though. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title to Senate Bill 26.
Senate Bill 26 by Senator Moreno, also Representative Ortiz, concerning the eligibility of discharged LGBT veterans for specified state benefits.
Assistant Majority Leader Gonzalez Gutierrez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move Senate Bill 26 on third reading and final passage.
The question before us is the adoption of Senate Bill 26 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Those participating remotely, Representative Judah, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Judah votes yes. Representative Jackson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Jackson votes yes. Representative Michelson-Janae, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Michelson-Janae votes yes. Madam Majority Leader, how do you vote?
Yes.
Madam Majority Leader votes yes. Representative Ortiz, how do you vote?
Ortiz, how do you vote? Yeah.
Representative Ortiz votes
Representative
yes.
Ortiz.
Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative McLaughlin votes yes. Please close the machine. With 47 aye votes, 16 no votes, and 2 excused, Senate Bill 26 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Representative Jackson, Michelson-Janae, Madam Majority Leader, Representative McLaughlin, co-sponsor. Please close the machine. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title to House Bill 1193.
House Bill 1193 by Representative Gray, also Senator Priola, concerning consumer protection for acts related to a supplemental restraint system.
Assistant Majority Leader Gonzalez Gutierrez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move House Bill 1193 on third reading and final passage.
The question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1193 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representative Judah, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Judah votes yes. Representative Jackson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Jackson votes yes. Representative Michelson-Janae, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Michelson-Janae votes yes. Madam Majority Leader, how do you vote?
Yes.
Madam Majority Leader votes yes. Representative Ortiz, how do you vote?
Ortiz, how do you vote?
We try one more time. Sorry.
Yes.
Representative Ortiz.
Representative
votes
Ortiz.
yes. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative McLaughlin votes yes. Representative Bockenfeld. Please close the machine. With 49 aye votes, 14 no votes, and 2 excused, House Bill 1193 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of the House Bill 1112.
House Bill 1112 by Representative Snyder and Bradfield, also Senator Lee, concerning authorization for a school district to establish a scholarship program for school district graduates using the school district's locally received money.
Assistant Majority Leader Gonzalez Gutierrez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move House Bill 1112 on third reading and final passage.
The question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1112 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representative Judah, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Judah votes yes. Representative Jackson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Jackson votes yes. Representative Michelson-Janae, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Michelson-Janae votes yes. Representative Escar, how do you vote?
Yes.
Sorry, Madam Majority Leader votes yes. Representative Ortiz, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Ortiz votes yes. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative McLaughlin votes yes. Please close the machine. With 53 aye votes, 10 no votes, and 2 excused, House Bill 1112 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Representative Judah, Michelson-Janae, co-sponsor. Representative Ortiz, co-sponsor. Please close the machine. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of the House Bill 1169.
House Bill 1169 by Representatives Van Bever and Ortiz, also Senators Pedersen and Danielson, concerning the prohibition of discrimination against a potential organ transplant recipient based solely on the person's disability.
Assistant Majority Leader Gonzalez Gutierrez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move House Bill 1169 on third reading and final passage.
The question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1169 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representative Judah, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Judah votes yes. Representative Jackson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Jackson votes yes. Representative Michelson-Janae, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Michelson-Janae votes yes. Madam Majority Leader, how do you vote?
Yes.
Madam Majority Leader votes yes. Representative Ortiz, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Ortiz votes yes. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative McLaughlin votes yes. Representative Doherty. Please close the machine. With 59 aye votes, 4 no votes, and 2 excused, House Bill 1169 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Representative Judah, Madam Majority Leader, Representative Michelson-Janae, Representative Jackson, Representative McLaughlin, co-sponsor. Please close the machine. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of the House Bill 1190.
House Bill 1190 by Representatives Rich and Escar, also Senator Kirkmeyer, concerning the definition of telemedicine for the purposes of the Colorado Medical Practice Act.
Assistant Majority Leader Gonzalez Gutierrez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move House Bill 1190 on third reading and final passage.
The question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1190 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representative Judah, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Judah votes yes. Representative Jackson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Jackson votes yes. Representative Michelson Janae, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Michelson Janae votes yes. Madam Majority Leader, how do you vote?
Yes.
Madam Majority Leader votes yes. Representative Ortiz, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Ortiz votes yes. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative McLaughlin votes yes. Please close the machine. With 63 aye votes, 0 no votes, and 2 excused, House Bill 1190 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Representative Judah, Michelson Janae, co-sponsor. Please, Representative Ortiz and Representative McLaughlin, co-sponsor. Please close the machine. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of the House Bill 1188.
House Bill 1188 by Representative Kennedy, also Senator Gonzalez, concerning additional liability of a defendant who admits liability under Respondeat Superior.
Assistant Majority Leader Gonzalez Gutierrez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move House Bill 1188 on third reading and final passage.
The question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1188 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representative Judah, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Judah votes yes. Representative Jackson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Jackson votes yes. Representative Michelson Janae, how do you vote?
Yes. Representative Michelson Janae, how do you vote? Yes.
Representative Michelson Janae votes yes. Madam Majority Leader, how do you vote?
Yes.
Madam Majority Leader votes yes. Representative Ortiz, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Ortiz votes yes. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative McLaughlin votes yes. Please close the machine. With 40 aye votes, 23 no votes, and 2 excused, House Bill 1188 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of the Senate Bill 73.
Senate Bill 73 by Senators Danielson and Quorum, also Representatives Michelson, Janae, and Soper, concerning changing the statute of limitations applicable to civil actions alleging sexual misconduct for which the statute of limitations has not yet run as of January 1, 2022.
Assistant Majority Leader Gonzalez Gutierrez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move Senate Bill 73 on third reading and final passage.
Seeing further discussion, Representative Bockenfeld.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's an honor to serve with you.
Honor to serve with you as well, Representative Bockenfeld.
I rise to ask the members of this body to vote no on this bill. The bill contains a serious flaw that the bill sponsors have refused to remedy. The original civil statute that governed this law restricted the fact that one could bring a suit against someone who was deceased or incapacitated. This restriction made sense because a deceased person or an incapacitated cannot defend oneself due to the fact that the new version of the bill took this restriction out. It is unfair. Folks, we have an aging population here in Colorado. We're going to see more and more challenges to deceased estates. The heirs of these estates are going to be placed at a severe disadvantage. A dead man can't defend oneself. So how will this issue play out or be resolved in these types of cases? The attorneys of the estate is going to advise their heirs that the lowest standard of proof, which is the preponderance of evidence, is going to be utilized to prove the case. That means when you evaluate the evidence, 50% plus 1% is going to be sufficient to win. The attorney then is going to advise his client that they only have a 50-50 chance of winning. In order to manage this risk, you may want to reach for a reasonable settlement, even if you feel the accusations are false. That's a terrible position to put one's heirs in. Let's say you fight the accusations and you win. You still lose. You lose because your attorney's fees, all the depositions that have to be taken to defend your loved one's estate will be chewed up, will chew up the estate. Members, I don't know why the sponsors have refused to fix this fatal flaw, but they chose not to. My heart bleeds for the victims of sexual assault violence. But making a claim against someone who can't fight back, some 30 to 40 years after the fact, is wrong and it needs to be fixed. I ask for a no vote, and let's bring this bill back and do the right thing. Let's create a bill that protects everyone involved in the justice system, keeps the justice system fair and balanced, make sure everyone has a right to a fair trial. Not a bill that has the potential to create more victims in our society, especially those who are aging and want to leave a little of something to their heirs. A no vote is not a vote against this bill. It is a vote to make sure it is done right before we pass it. One last point. How can you fix this bill? You can place the restriction back into the bill like the original law had, to where you can't sue someone who is deceased or incapacitated. Or you could change at least change the standard of proof to clear and convincing, and not just the weakest form, the weakest standard of proof that we have in our justice system, which is preponderance of evidence. So based on these statements, under Rule 9, I move House Bill 73 back to second reading for consideration of a substantial amendment to this bill. And I ask for a second.
The body will stand in a brief recess. House will come back to order. That motion is in order. Assistant Majority Leader Gonzalez Gutierrez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I ask for a no vote on that motion. This bill did go through a full committee hearing. Thank you.
And I don't think the motion is debatable. Is the motion debatable? Hold on one sec, Representative Williams. I could be wrong. Hold on. Great. All right, we're just double checking everything this morning. That motion is debatable. Representative Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I rise in support of this amendment. I think, if you'll notice, the bill itself is a Senate bill, so we are able to actually amend on thirds a Senate bill substantially. However, given the type of bill that we're discussing and the implications of the bill itself, I think it does make sense to send it back to seconds, not only so that we can debate this properly, but more importantly, so that Representative Bockenfeld and others can have enough time to stakehold with the bill sponsors and any other interested parties. I will tell you that right now I'm a no on this bill, absent an amendment dealing with the standards of evidence. I think Representative Bockenfeld makes a very good point that perhaps clear and convincing is a better road to go down. And we can certainly amend that here on thirds. However, given the nature of this bill, it makes more sense to send it back to seconds and have a little bit more time to refine this. Because once this passes, then it's one step closer to getting back to the governor's desk. And I think this topic and this bill and this issue deserves a little bit more time. So I certainly rise in support of this motion.
Speaker Pro Tem Benavides, and then we'll go to Representative Sandridge.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And members, I think the issue raised in this is a real issue. I had brought an amendment that was never presented to the committee to retain that restriction, because it does make it extremely difficult much further out, and maybe states have been resolved, maybe they haven't. But we never discussed that in committee because I never presented my amendment. I think it is a good issue, and I was persuaded to support the bill because really, members, what was presented to us in this bill was removal of the statute of limitation on everything with regard to sexual misconduct. Because of an amendment we passed, we narrowed that to the more serious crimes that are sexual misconduct or sexual assault. It is not, I mean, many of you have heard what's been reported in the news in the last few days that this is for everything. It is not. It is for the serious offenses. And I would have retained that, but because of that, because of that amendment, this is going to have to go into a conference committee or go at least back to the Senate to see if they would agree. So I think there is opportunity to talk to your senator to see if this can be resolved when it goes back to the Senate. For that reason, and because we did have full debate in the Judiciary Committee, I urge a no vote on the amendment.
And on the motion.
On the motion, I meant.
Great. Representative Sandridge.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I stand in support of this motion. Let's stay on topic. I mean, it's clear that everybody in this body, especially my caucus, are champions of sexual assault victims, and we want the best for these victims. And the essence of this bill is strong. And so I think a lot of it needs to move forward, but there does need to be some refinement. Just like a lot of bills, there's some unintended consequences. There's some room for improvement. I think the victims and the parties associated with these crimes deserve a well-crafted or refined bill. Let's take another shot at it, make it a little better for the people we serve. So I stand in support of this. Thank you.
Okay, we'll go Representative Weissman, and then we'll go Representative Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm going to reserve some of what I was going to say until later and speak just to this motion. What has been stated here is that what we're doing is somehow unfair and different vis-a-vis actions that may proceed against an estate. And respectfully, I do not believe that is true. Answers are in the books here. 1320-101, survival of actions. When something is set forth in 101 of any article in our code, that means it's pretty fundamental. It is bedrock that, with very few exceptions, actions survive for good reasons. Then we have the probate law here, and we talked about this the other day. There are already limits, and it's not unreasonable that there should be limits on actions that can be brought against an estate. The term the law uses is creditor. It's a little bit of an awkward term in this context. But an estate is going to be settled out relatively quickly, one would hope. That's what is supposed to happen. So there are already time limits that run not more than a year. In some cases, they can be less. Publication, there's a mix of factors, but there is not an unlimited time window, and that is to address the reasons that my colleague from Arapahoe County is speaking to. Do we want a different set of rules for this type of claims? I really don't think that we do. We already have rules. We already have the bedrock rule that somebody passing away does not cut off potential responsibility for wrongdoing. And we already have the rule that there's a time limit on claims that can be brought against estates. And let's remember, we're now talking about more limits on people who've known nothing but limits in trying to get justice for hideous wrongs that were done to them. I also want to state, because it's relevant to this motion, we're talking about any other civil action here. The burden is on the plaintiff. The standard is preponderance. That's not the lowest standard. That is the standard. That is the standard in civil law for all actions, this and anything else. So we're not saying anything different when we say that a preponderance standard applies here. And like anything else, the burden is on the plaintiff to prove up damages and bring evidence in to support the case. And if the preponderance threshold is not met, plaintiff loses. Candidly, it is going to be hard for folks to succeed this long after things have happened. But it matters to at least keep the doors of the courthouse open. So I'm going to ask for a no vote on the motion. This is a kind of justice that has been delayed and therefore denied for far too long. And I'll have more to say a bit later in the debate. I ask for a no on the motion.
Okay. Further discussion on the motion to send it back to seconds. Representative Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I just wanted to respond to the comments from our Speaker Pro Tem. I think there is opportunity, especially when this goes back to conference committee, but for my own clarification about the process itself, I think if this matter were to be discussed in conference committee absent sending it back to seconds, then we would have to go beyond the scope to address, I believe, any of the issues that Representative Bockenfeld is bringing forward here. And so I would ask that everyone take that into account as you decide how to vote on this motion. That's why I think it's cleaner and more appropriate to send it back to seconds rather than sending it to conference committee and then addressing the issue. Again, it makes absolute sense with what Representative Bockenfeld has brought up to try and refine this further, and I think the appropriate place is in second reading. So please vote yes on the motion.
On the motion, Representative Soper.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Speaker. As the bill's sponsor, I rise in opposition to this motion. Senate Bill 73 was also known as House Bill 1296 last year. It had a hearing last year in House Judiciary. It received one no vote. The rest were in favor. Coming to this year, to Senate Bill 73, the rest of the bill is entirely the same, except narrowing the scope to make sure it's the most egregious offenses that a claimant can pursue. It also had a hearing in House Judiciary this year, one no vote. It was once again robustly debated on second reading both last year and this year. Same bill, same provisions. This has had ample time to go through the system and to hear all the different points that should be made. Diving into the underlying issue here, either some members are admitting that they didn't read the bill last year, or they want to protect Jeffrey Epstein this year, because that is the point here. You can't have it both ways. I rise in opposition. Thank you.
Any further discussion on the motion? Representative Bockenfeld.
I resent that statement defending Jeffrey Epstein. That was inappropriate, and I wish it was called out, Mr. Speaker.
Sorry, Representative Bockenfeld, I was not paying attention. But let's be careful of the words that we use in the law. With that, any further discussion? Seeing none. Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote on the question of sending Senate Bill 73 back to second reading. Representative Judah.
No.
Representative Judah votes no. Representative Jackson.
No.
Representative Jackson votes no. Representative Michelson Janae.
No.
Representative Michelson Janae votes no. Madam Majority Leader.
No.
Madam Majority Leader votes no. Representative Ortiz.
No.
Representative Ortiz votes no. Representative McLaughlin.
No.
Representative McLaughlin votes no. Representative Bockenfeld.
Yes.
Representative Bockenfeld votes yes. Please close the machine. With 14 aye votes, 49 no votes, and 2 excused, the motion to send Senate Bill 73 back to second reading is lost. To the bill, further discussion on third reading of Senate Bill 73. Representative Soper.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I do want to address the criticisms that were made of Senate Bill 73 before the motion. I think that they are very important that we clarify a few things here. First of all, 73 is substantially the same bill as 1296 from last year that this entire body debated on and voted on, with only one no vote, I might add. Secondly, it came out of the Senate unanimously this year. We did add two amendments in House Judiciary to narrow the scope to make sure that it's not as wide of a sweep, which was a very good amendment. But to address a point that a colleague here made, if Senate Bill 73 were to be amended to prevent victims of sexual misconduct from suing an estate after the defendant died, we would be creating a process where child rape and sexual assault victims would be treated differently and have less access to civil remedies than plaintiffs in other types of cases, like slip and fall or car accidents. How horrible would it be if your son or daughter was raped multiple times, the perpetrator died, and they had not even a day to be able to make their case in court, but yet let's take the same fact pattern. Let's say your loved one is driving down the road to work, a beautiful day like today, and they're hit by another car where the driver was intoxicated. The intoxicated driver dies. Your loved one is injured, let's say paralyzed, a life-changing event. And yet, under Colorado tort law, under civil law, you could still sue that estate. To accept the argument that we have a deficiency here would be to say that sexual perpetrators like Epstein and Weinstein should be treated differently than other areas of tort law. I reject that notion. If we want to clean up the probate code, we could talk about cleaning up the probate code. But to raise one issue that was never raised last year in this bill, it was never raised until the very end of this process. This is a bill that's been looked at by probably over 100 lawyers. It seems like this would be something that the probate bar would have also raised here in Colorado. They were fine with it. This bill is 30 years in the making. To be able to give victims of rape and sexual assault the ability to make their case in court when they're ready to share their story. Nothing in this bill before you changes Part 8 of Article 12 of Title 15, which says the plaintiff has a one-year statute of limitations after the defendant's death to file a claim against the estate. There is no concept in law where you're able to give your entire estate to your heirs. When you die, the purpose of winding up an estate is to pay the obligations that were collected in life. Some of those obligations might be a mortgage that's still outstanding. Others might be contracts that are still outstanding. But what about legal obligations that are still outstanding? Those also are included in the winding up of an estate. Now, it could be that the loan holder doesn't come forward. It could be that the contract debt holder doesn't come forward. And it could be that the tortfeasor doesn't come forward. The estate winds up after the year under current law. That's current law. That's the end of the story. You proceed with being able to give what's left to the heirs, but that's already in law. It's really important to not lose focus of what Senate Bill 73 does here. It's the bigger picture of giving rape and sexual assault victims. We're fighting for victims here. The ability to make their case in court when they're ready to share their story. And I just want to let that hang on every member's heart and mind as we're about to vote. Thank you.
Further discussion on Senate Bill 73. See Representative Weissman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There's not a lot to add to the very capable concluding comments of our colleague from Delta. And a few minutes ago and on Friday, I tried putting this in my own words, but it isn't ultimately my words that matter here. So what I wanted to do is share the words of somebody that does matter. And this is from an email that I got Friday afternoon. Dear Representative, I just watched you defend the passage of Senate Bill 73, and it brought me to my knees sobbing. Although the passage of this law does not apply to me, I can assure you that it is quite possibly the greatest victory of my life. I started searching for justice in 1993 after my trafficker contacted me. And he is still alive. I cannot sue him or his estate. However, I can most certainly rest tonight knowing that any survivor who is able to seek justice will no longer be held back by an arbitrary date. And if their perpetrator is dead, they can sue their estate just like any other creditor. Thank you for making that clear. I will never forget testifying to the Judiciary Committee on this bill, and I am forever grateful for the heavy lifting that Rep. Michelson-Janae and Rep. Soper did to get this accomplished. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Representative Judah votes yes. Representative Jackson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Jackson votes yes. Representative Michelson-Janae, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Michelson-Janae votes yes. Majority Leader Escar, how do you vote?
Yes.
Majority Leader Escar votes yes. Representative Ortiz, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Ortiz votes yes. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative McLaughlin votes yes. Please close the machine. With 39 aye votes, 24 no votes, and 2 excused, House Bill 1115 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Representative Ortiz, co-sponsor. Representative Michelson-Janae, co-sponsor. Please close the machine. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of House Bill 1180.
House Bill 1180 by Representatives Valdez D. and Will, also Senator Quorum, concerning measures to increase biomass utilization throughout the state.
Assistant Majority Leader Gonzalez Gutierrez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move House Bill 1180 on third reading and final passage.
The question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1180 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representative Judah, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Judah votes yes. Representative Jackson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Jackson votes yes. Representative Michelson Janae, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Michelson Janae votes yes. Madam Majority Leader, how do you vote?
Yes.
Madam Majority Leader votes yes. Representative Ortiz, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Ortiz votes yes. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative McLaughlin votes yes. Representative Bockenfeld, Exum, Lontine, Lux, Snyder, and Van Winkle. Please close the machine. With 55 aye votes, 8 no votes, and 2 excused, House Bill 1180 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Representative McLaughlin, Jackson, co-sponsor. Please close the machine. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of the House Bill 1180. Whoa, that was wrong. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of the House Bill 1011.
House Bill 1011 by Representative Caraveo, also Senator Gonzalez and Moreno, concerning the expansion of multilingual ballot access for electors in the state.
Assistant Majority Leader Gonzalez Gutierrez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move House Bill 1011 on third reading and final passage.
The question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1011 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representative Judah, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Judah votes yes. Representative Jackson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Jackson votes yes. Representative Michelson Janae, how do you vote? Representative Michelson Janae, how do you vote?
Yes. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Yes.
Representative Michelson Janae votes yes. Madam Majority Leader, how do you vote?
Yes.
Madam Majority Leader votes yes. Representative Ortiz, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Ortiz votes yes. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative McLaughlin votes yes. Please close the machine. With 40 aye votes, 23 no votes, and 2 excused, House Bill 1011 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Madam Majority Leader, Representative Ortiz, Representative McLaughlin, Representative Judah, Representative Jackson, Representative Michelson Janae, co-sponsor. Please close the machine. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of the House Bill 1013.
House Bill 1013 by Representatives Snyder and Van Winkle, also Senator Kolker, concerning the division of insurer into multiple resulting domestic stock insurers and in connection therewith making an appropriation.
Assistant Majority Leader Gonzalez Gutierrez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move House Bill 1013 on third reading and final passage.
Question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1013 on third reading and final passage. See no further discussion. Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representative Judah, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Judah votes yes. Representative Jackson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Jackson. Representative Jackson votes yes. Representative Michelson Janae, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Michelson Janae votes yes. Madam Majority Leader, how do you vote?
Yes.
Madam Majority Leader votes yes. Representative Ortiz, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Ortiz votes yes. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative McLaughlin votes yes. Representative Kipp. Please close the machine. With 62 aye votes, 1 no vote, and 2 excused, House Bill 1013 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of House Bill 1044.
House Bill 1044 by Representatives Hooton and Larson, also Senators Bridges and Gardner, concerning allowing a manufacturer of Venus liquors to maintain licensed premises consisting of multiple non-contiguous locations and in connection therewith making an appropriation.
Assistant Majority Leader Gonzalez Gutierrez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move House Bill 1044 on third reading and final passage.
Question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1044 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representative Judah, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Judah votes yes. Representative Jackson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Jackson votes yes. Representative Michelson Janae, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Michelson Janae votes yes. Madam Majority Leader, how do you vote?
Yes.
Madam Majority Leader votes yes. Representative Ortiz, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Ortiz votes yes. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative McLaughlin votes yes. Representative Bacon and Representative Exum. Please close the machine. With 63 aye votes, no votes, and 2 excused, House Bill 1044 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Representative Ortiz, co-sponsor. Please close the machine. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of House Bill 1087.
House Bill 1087 by Representatives Doherty and Bradfield, also Senator Danielson, concerning authorizing education support professionals to participate in the Teaching and Learning Conditions Survey and in connection therewith making an appropriation.
Assistant Majority Leader Gonzalez Gutierrez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move House Bill 1087 on third reading and final passage.
Question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1087 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representative Judah, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Judah votes yes. Representative Jackson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Jackson votes yes. Representative Michelson Janae, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Michelson Janae votes yes. Madam Majority Leader, how do you vote?
Yes.
Madam Majority Leader votes yes. Representative Ortiz, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Ortiz votes yes. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative McLaughlin votes yes. Representative Catlin Luck will. Please close the machine. With 58 aye votes, 5 no votes, and 2 excused, House Bill 1087 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Representative Judah, Jackson, Michelson, Janae, Ortiz, co-sponsor. Please, Madam Majority Leader, I think Michelson, Janae, I got you, and Representative McLaughlin, co-sponsor. Please close the machine. The next order of business is Assistant Majority Leader Gonzalez Gutierrez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I just wanted to give everyone a heads up. We are going to go into second reading. We're going to try to get through the calendar. And there'll be some bills that will be laid over, and I'll make those announcements as we go.
Thank you very much. Representative Bacon. You have heard the motion. Seeing no objection, Representative Bacon will take the chair.
The committee will come to order. With your unanimous consent, the bills will be read by title unless there is a request for reading a bill at length. Committee reports are printed and in your bill folders. Floor amendments will be shown on the screen and on your iPads. Bills will be laid over upon motion of the majority leader, and the coat rule is relaxed.
Robin's like,
Madam Assistant Majority Leader.
thank you, Madam Chair. It's an honor to serve with you.
The honor is all mine.
I move to lay over Senate Bill 78 until Thursday, April 1st.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, Senate Bill 78 will be laid over as requested by the Assistant Majority Leader. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title to House Bill 1153.
House Bill 1153 by Representatives Arndt and Valdez D., also Senator Moreno, concerning the repeal of the Enterprise Zone Child Care Contributions Income Tax Credit for income tax years commencing prior to January 1, 1999.
Representative Arndt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1153. There is no committee report.
Thank you. To the bill.
So this bill is a statutory revision committee bill, and it fits under the part of the charge of the committee when we talk about removing obsolete parts of statute. And this repeals obsolete statute language for the Enterprise Zone Child Care Contribution Income Tax Credit, which was only available up until 1999. I urge an aye vote.
Representative D. Valdez.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and it's an honor to serve with you.
It's an honor to serve with you.
Members, this is about cutting the pork out of the bill and make sure that there's no bacon in this bill. So with that, I ask for your support on House Bill 1153.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the, I'm sorry? Okay. The question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1153. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Bill passes. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title to House Bill 1155.
House Bill 1155 by Representatives Arndt and Pico, also Senators Zenzinger and Woodward, concerning modifications to the sales and use tax statutes in order to address certain defects and anachronisms.
Representative Pico.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move House Bill 1155. This is a, there is no committee report.
To the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is another bill from the Statutory Revision Committee. It repeals obsolete language and ensures that we bring the different statutes in conformity with previously passed legislation. Ask for an aye vote.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1155. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion passes. Motion passes.
So always try to say. Right, go ahead.
Mr. Gregorio, please read the title to House Bill 1156.
House Bill 1156 by Representatives Lynch and Pico, also Senators Kirkmeyer and Zenziger, concerning the correction of statutory defects related to the severance tax withholdings from a distributment to an oil and gas interest owner.
Representative Pico.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move House Bill 211156. There is no committee report.
To the bill. Representative Lynch.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's an honor to serve with you.
It is an honor to serve with you.
This is another statutory review committee bill. What this does is, for the purpose of electronic payments It replaces a cross-reference to a repealed subsection with a reference to a current statutory requirement. It's a lot of work went into this bill. No, not really. We're just fixing some stuff. I would urge a yes vote.
Any further discussion? Seeing none? The question before us is adoption of House Bill 1156. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The bill is adopted. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title to House Bill 1157.
House Bill 1157 by Representatives Arndt and Lynch, also Senators Kirkmeyer and Woodward, concerning the accurate statutory reference to the types of taxes administered by the Department of Revenue for the purposes of administrative requirements.
Representative Lynch.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to introduce House Bill 1157. There is no committee report.
Can you move the bill?
I would like to move House Bill 1157. There is no committee report.
Thank you. To the bill. Representative Arndt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill removes the incomplete statutory reference to tax types and deletes statutory cross-references that were incorrect. Takes a law to get rid of a law, just so you know that.
Any further discussion? Representative Neville.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Pursuant to House Rule 55, I move that this bill be referred to the Committee on Ethics.
Representative Neville.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. There is no House Rule 55. I was just making sure Madam Assistant Majority Leader was on her toes. So I withdraw that fake and made-up motion.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none. The question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1108. Oh, I'm sorry, 1157. Sorry. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? The bill is adopted. Madam Assistant Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to lay over House Bill 1108 until Wednesday, March 31st.
Seeing no objection.
Seeing no objection,
House Bill 1108.
House Bill 1108 is laid over until March 31st.
Very good.
Mr. Gregorio, please read the title to House Bill 1143.
House Bill 1143 by Representatives Froelich and Soper, also Senator Danielson, concerning forensic medical evidence of sexual assault.
Representative Froelich.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It is an honor to serve with you.
The honor is all mine.
I move House Bill 1143. There is no committee report.
To the bill.
I'll move the amendment.
Representative Soper.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. It's an honor to serve with you.
It's an honor to serve with you.
I move Amendment L003 and ask that it be displayed.
So wait until he hands it to you.
Tell us stop the amendment.
The amendment has been properly moved and displayed to the amendment. Representative Soper.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the amendment before you came out of really House Judiciary, where a lot of the members were saying, who has the authority over the evidence? So we wanted to make it explicitly clear that it's the law enforcement agency for jurisdiction of the case. This is a good amendment. It actually makes the bill a lot better, and we'd ask for a yes vote.
Any discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of Amendment L003. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
L003 is adopted.
L003 is adopted. To the bill, Representative Froelich.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, this bill is about restoring some empowerment to victims of sexual assault by giving them agency over the evidence. Unfortunately, in these cases, folks' bodies are crime scenes, and evidence is collected off of a survivor's body. And so it makes sense that they have rights to the evidence collected in that situation. And so we're asking for law enforcement to hold on to that evidence, to wait out to the statute of limitations, and that victims, survivors be informed of the status of that evidence. And we ask for an aye vote.
Representative Soper.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a bill also 2 years in the making. We tried it last year, but it got disrupted by COVID, along with many other bills. But what ends up happening in a case of a sexual assault or rape is a medical examination will be done. And as Representative Froelich just said, a person's body becomes a crime scene. And so the evidence that's collected is what's commonly referred to as a rape kit. And what this bill provides is that the victim has the ability to be notified when their kit has been submitted for testing, when law enforcement has finished their analysis, whether or not DNA was taken from the sample, and then the right to be informed at least 60 days prior to the destruction of any forensic evidence associated there. And this is really important because there's a difference between civil cases and criminal cases, and certainly if law enforcement is going to destroy evidence, that the victim still at least be able to have access to the evidence if they want to make a civil case. And then the ability to be informed in writing on what their rights are as a victim. Because when you're in the emergency department being examined, you certainly aren't thinking about what rights do I have, what should I be thinking about, and so this bill allows for that to be disclosed, and I would ask for a yes vote.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1143. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. The bill is adopted. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title.
Please read the title.
Oh, that was me. That was just me. Okay. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title to House Bill 1066.
House Bill 1066 by Representatives Bockenfeld and Michelson Janay, also Senators Smallwood and Woodward, concerning the modification of monthly financial reporting requirements of the Department of Transportation.
Representative Michelson Janay.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 21-1066 and ask for an aye vote.
To the bill.
This bill would amend statute to modify the monthly financial reporting requirements for the Department of Transportation. Specifically, the department would be required to submit sufficient financial information for the state controller to complete a review of legal over expenditures and deficit fund balances and a budget to actual report for all budget lines within the General Appropriations Act, also known as the long bill. It would require the department to submit monthly reports to the Transportation Commission of the expenditures made from each budget allocation plan category and the unexpended and unencumbered balance of each subcategory. The department would also be required to make each report publicly available on its website. This came out from recommendations from the Legislative Audit Committee. The departments are in agreement with this recommendation, and I ask for an aye vote.
Representative Bockenfeld.
What my very capable colleague said. Vote aye.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1066. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed?
Aye.
bill is adopted. Madam Assistant Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that the committee rise and report. Good work, everyone.
You have heard the motion. Seeing no objection, the committee will rise and report.
The House will come to order. Mr. Gregorio, please read the report of the Committee of the Whole.
Mr. Speaker, your Committee of the Whole begs leave to report that it has under consideration the following attached bills, being the second reading thereof, and makes the following recommendations thereon. House Bill 1066, 1144 is amended to 1153, 1155, 1156, 1157, passed on second reading and ordered engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. House Bill 1108 laid over till 3/31/21 and retained their place on the calendar. Senate Bill 78 laid over until 4/1/2021 and retained their place on the calendar.
Representative Bacon. There are no amendments at the desk. The question before us is the adoption of the report of the Committee of the Whole. Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine and members please proceed to vote. Representative Judah, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Judah votes yes. Representative Jackson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Jackson votes yes. Representative Michelson Janae, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Michelson Janae votes yes. Representative Ortiz, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Ortiz votes yes. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative McLaughlin votes yes. Representative Arndt. Please close the machine. With 37 aye votes, 24 no votes, and 4 excused, the report of the Committee of the Whole is adopted. That brings us to announcements and introductions. Representative Arndt.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, House Ag, Livestock, and Water Committee will meet at 1:30 in our normal room, and we'll just hear one bill today, 1223. Thank you. Just be there promptly, or you're going to miss it.
Further announcements and introductions. Representative Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members of State, Civic, Military, and Veterans Affairs, we have 5 bills up at 1:30 in LSBA. We'll be hearing House Bills 1086, 1088, 1170, 1176, and 1053.
Further announcements and introductions. Seeing Mr. Gregorio, reports of committees of reference.
Committee on Public and Behavioral Health and Human Services, after consideration on the merits, the committee recommends following. House Bill 21-1187 be amended as follows and be so amended, be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation.
Signing of bills, resolutions, and memorials.
The Speaker
Signing of
has
bills, resolutions, and memorials will be printed in the journals. Message from the Senate.
Mr. Speaker.
Message from the Senate will definitely be buried in the journal. Assistant Majority Leader Gonzalez Gutierrez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, great job today. We got caught up on time. I move that the House stand in adjournment for the, I'm just kidding, I'm kidding.
Okay.
I move that the House stand in recess until later today.
Seeing no objection, the House will stand in recess until later today.
Thank you.